This is the story of the American Civil War. It began on April 12, 1861, and ended on April 9, 1865, nearly 4 years of the deadliest conflict in American history. It was fought entirely within the United States between the Union in the North and the Confederacy in the South. On one side stood the Union, 20 free states in the North, loyal to the United States government, led by the newly elected President Abraham Lincoln. On the other side stood the Confederacy, 11 southern states that broke away to form their own nation, led by President Jefferson Davis. Two governments, one country, about to collide. This was not a war against a foreign empire, not against Britain, not against any outside power. No enemy ships crossed the Atlantic. No foreign soldier ever invaded this soil. This was Americans against Americans. Brothers who once stood side by side, now aiming rifles at one another across the same battlefield. At the heart of it all was slavery. The Southern economy was built entirely on the forced labor of nearly 4 million enslaved people. When Abraham Lincoln, a man who opposed slavery's expansion, presidency in November 1860, the South saw it as the beginning of the end for their entire way of life. On December 20th, 1860, South Carolina became the first state to secede from the Union. Within 2 months, 10 more southern states followed. Mississippi, Florida, Alabama, Georgia, Louisiana, Texas, Virginia, Arkansas, Tennessee, and North Carolina, forming the Confederate States of America. At 4:30 in the morning on April 12, 1861, Confederate cannons opened fire on Fort Sumter in Charleston Harbor. After 34 hours of relentless bombardment, the Union garrison surrendered. Not a single soldier died in the attack. But the American Civil War had officially begun. On July 21, 1861, both armies clashed for the first time at Bull Run in Virginia. Spectators from Washington had come to watch, expecting a quick Union victory. Confederate forces routed the Union Army, and General Thomas Jackson stood so firmly under fire that he earned the legendary nickname Stonewall. In April 1862, General Ulysses S. Grant's Union forces were caught by surprise at Shiloh. In 2 brutal days of fighting, more Americans fell than in all previous American wars combined. Grant held the line and won, but the staggering cost revealed just how bloody this war would truly become. On September 17, 1862, the two armies collided at Antietam Creek in Maryland. By nightfall, over 22,000 men were dead, wounded, or missing, making it the single bloodiest day in all of American history. Yet the narrow Union victory gave President Lincoln exactly the moment On January 1st, 1863, President Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, declaring that all enslaved people in Confederate-held territory were now free. It didn't end slavery everywhere overnight, but it transformed the entire purpose of the war, turning it into a fight for human freedom. For 3 days in July 1863, over 150,000 soldiers clashed at Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, the largest battle ever fought on American soil. When Confederate General Pickett's massive charge failed against the Union line, the tide of the